Do you want to improve the audio quality of your guests on your podcast? This has been a bugbear of mine since I started podcasting back in 2016. The guests' audio varied so much, and the only way around it was to send them a full-on microphone with a tripod or get them into a studio, which is so costly. But now there are new smart devices on the market. There's Rode, there's DJI have got some, loads of smart lavs. And I wanted to test today 2 smart lavs. I have got an XS Lav by Sennheiser, USB-C. I've bought an adapter to take that to USB 2, I think you call it, or B. So that with an adapter, £50. And I have got a £13 Movo LV1 USB. I'm not expecting a lot of this Movo, to be fair. It's £13. But if I did send this to a client or a contributor and it went missing, I'm not going to cry about it. So join me as we test these 2 USB lavs to improve our podcast sound. So, is a £13 microphone better than a £50 microphone? I have got an LV1 USB lavalier microphone by Movo and an XS Smart Lav that's USB from Sennheiser, and I got some of these little adapters to modify the USB-C to your regular USB. So which out of the 2 mics is going to win in my test? We have got the XS Lav. It is an omnidirectional. It is USB-C, this version. There is another version. It comes with wind protection, storage pouch, and a clip. The LV1 comes with an adapter, a battery, a clip, and wind protection as well. So let's get started with the LV1 from Movo. Now it says in the box that you can activate a 2-year warranty, which is good for something that costs £13. Inside the box we find instructions. Lovely. A survey ticket. Are you happy? Yippee! Or are you unhappy? Oh no, I spend too much time alone. I want a sticker. Lovely, that can go on my laptop case. Bosh. Right, let's get into this pouch. So in this lovely pleather pouch, which is pretty good, keeping it all together, that's nice. We've got the USB adapter. So hopefully you can see there is a connection for headphone, 3.5mm jack headphones, and the microphone, which is good because it means that it's not going to overwrite your system completely. You can still use wired headphones, which I would recommend for any podcast recording because Bluetooth headphones can induce a delay. In the second packet, we have got more accessories. We have got the wind protection, a little foamy there. In its own extra bit of plastic is a tiny, tiny little battery. This is because the Movo doesn't draw power from the USB. How do you focus an iPhone? Zoom, enhance. And a 1/4-inch jack to 3.5mm adapter. So if your mic is going into something that's got a 1/4-inch jack, it's nice that they provide the adapter for that. Here we've got the clip for the Lav itself. The Lav sits in the bottom. Cilia gel, don't eat that. And here is the microphone itself. So the capsule's pretty big. It's in plastic, but what do we expect for £13? Put the wind protection on, wriggle it on until it goes over those ridges. You want to leave space for the clip underneath. Okay, I won't then. And there you've got the 2 lines of cable going into the power supply unit. So as I mentioned, battery turned on for using with cameras, a DSLR or something. It's got 20 feet of cable, so you could be quite far away for a wide shot and still have a lav mic on. And that's the jack at the end, TRRS 3.5mm jack. So This will go into the microphone connection. There it goes. It's snug to go in, so that's going to stay secure. You don't have to worry about that falling out mid-record. And then you definitely need this Velcro strap. 20 feet of cable. I think there's an excessive amount of cable, but it might be beneficial to some people. They've obviously made that design choice, or they're just too lazy to cut the cable. So there's a little clip there on the back of the power supply unit. That does weigh something, so that either needs to go in a belt or in a pocket. It's not something you're going to want sort of clipped around your shirt or on a tie. It weighs a fair amount. So let's put the battery inside the power unit itself. It's really simple. It just unscrews like this. And then the battery actually slides in sideways as opposed to sort of sitting inside it. So make sure positive is to positive, negative is to negative. So negative on this is going towards the clip. And then screw it back up and make sure it's all secure. There's no LEDs or anything on this to show you whether it's on or not. So just keep that in mind. Right, onto the XS Lav from Sennheiser. All looks very swanky. All Sennheiser stuff looks good on the shelf. So in the box, we have got a really simple cardboard inlay holding together our pouch. More instructions. Yoink. Put those over there. Oh, this pouch is so soft. It's lovely. Lovely pouch, much nicer than the Movo, but we're not here for pouches, we're here for microphones. And this is the Smart Lav from Sennheiser. A smaller capsule, a lighter weight all around because it doesn't have that power supply unit. USB-C, as I keep mentioning, I want to make everyone aware that they're not exactly the same USB connection. You might need an adapter. We've got our wind protector, a little foamy. Let's see how easy that goes on as well. It's got a rubber tip around the bottom to ensure it won't slide off. Let's put that in there. Yep, that's pretty easy. Happy days. Pop, pop. So a lot less cable. 2 meters of cable is more than enough. And there's a clippy. Oh, a stiff clippy. There we go. So that is the XS Lav from Sennheiser. A lot less in the box. And we can't forget the USB-C adapters. I got 2 of these for £5.64, I think they were. And they're made out of metal. They look really solid. So yeah, let's get that and clip that into place before I forget. USB-C to USB-A. Clunk, nice and safe. Doesn't feel like it's going to fall off. But yeah, you'll need to buy that separately. So there's the two side by side. As you can see, the Movo's a little bit more chunky, but it's got that headphone adapter on it as well. So one final thing to mention here is I have tested both these mics through my USB extender. This is a power extender. Neither mic really worked. Like the Movo didn't even show up, the XS intermittent. So don't use an extender. That is my advice. Let's get into the test itself. Okay, so let's get the first mic on. I have plugged in the Sennheiser first. And that is just running straight into my Mac Studio in using the USB adapter. So we'll just clip this on. It's got the stiffest clip in the world. So we'll kind of put that there. And let's jump over to Riverside. Now, I was going to use Reaper or Audacity or QuickTime to test this, but in real world use case, I want to be able to use this with Riverside. I need to know that the guest will be able to add the microphone with ease. If the Movo is harder than the Sennheiser or the Sennheiser is harder than the Movo, that would be a deciding factor for me. So I'm testing in Riverside. Let's jump into Riverside. So I've got a studio here called Test Record. I'm going to jump into here and I'm going to go into the studio. Yes, I'm using headphones. if your guests ever have any trouble getting into Riverside, make sure that their browser is allowing access to the camera and the microphone. I use Brave as a browser and it constantly stops me doing those things. So happy there, it's found my camera and it's actually found the smart lav directly. It comes up as Sennheiser XS Lav, USB-C, going into an adapter. And yeah, we can select that. And my output is going to be my PreSonus audio interface anyway. So we're going to go join the studio. And there's my big Swede. So I have got back of a book from my friend Christy Nielsen. She's written a book called The Power of Elite Teams. So I'm going to read the back of this blurb on this book, and I'm going to read it with the Sennheiser, and then I'll read it with the Movo, and we'll see what we get. So I'm going to call this recording Sennheiser XS Lav. Save that. Okay, now let's jump into here and get recording. One thing I am going to check first is I want to be recording at 48K. It's not the end of the world if you shoot at 44.1. I just like more sample rate. Especially if I know there's a chance I'm going to be treating this for audio restoration, removing noise, clicks, whizzes, pops. More samples, the better. So let's hit record. Let's record some of this burb and then we can test the Movo. Countdown. We'll stop that. Boop. Now let's switch over to the Movo. Now the Movo comes with 20 feet worth of cable, so whether that's a good thing or not is entirely up to you. It's kind of cool, but the Sennheiser is definitely long enough. It goes all the way down into my computer cabinet here. It's definitely long enough if you've got a laptop in front of you. So length of cable, let's say the Movo is excessive. Let's get this swapped over. The Movo comes with the little audio adapter, I assume, that's in there, USB, and you can put headphones in there as well. There is no headphone functionality with the Sennheiser, so that's something to consider. Okay, well, one of the things that is slightly frustrating is because it's got this battery pack, it's got its own clip on it, but you would probably need to put that in a pocket and then clip that to your lapel. But I'm just gonna test it like this, put it roughly in the same place. All about scientific experimentation, isn't it, eh? Do I need to clip that somewhere? Maybe. There we go, handsome boy. But yeah, as you can see, there's plenty of cable that can go down into your pocket. This can be in your pocket or attached to your belt, whatever. And then an inordinate amount of 20 feet of cable afterwards. Right, let's record another one. We're gonna go into mic and we're gonna locate this new Movo mic. Now, I know that it's not the audio codec. It's got to be this audio device here because I know what that is. That's always there. So this is new. So we're gonna go USB audio device. Give it a little scratch. Always good to test with a scratch. By doing the 1, 2, 1, 2, other mics in the room can pick it up and it will still show you on the meters. So if you really want to test a mic, give it a scratch. Okay, here we go. Let's get this recording and we're going to rename this file to Movo Lav. Save. I'm not worried about the video format today, just the audio. And let's hit record. Okay, and we're going to leave the Riverside studio now. End session for all. That's both mics done. So I'm just going to unplug the Movo before it destroys my t-shirt. For some reason, it's labeled that first one as Movo, which is frustrating. So we're gonna get the raw audio downloaded, but I'm also gonna get the synced video just to do a little test. So I believe these are ran the wrong way. That's the Sennheiser. I can see it's the Sennheiser. So now that I've got those files, I'm going to jump into my downloads and we're going to open them in Isotope RX10 standalone. Okay. So this is the Smart Lav, the Sennheiser Lav. The XS Lav, I should call it. Here is where you begin your journey to creating your own unstoppable team. In today's fast-paced and competitive business world, it's not enough to have a good team. To succeed, you need an elite team, one that is highly skilled, motivated, and aligned around a common purpose. But what does it take to build and lead such a team? Okay, sounds pretty good. Pretty pleased with that. So this is the Movo. You can see the Movo has got significant amount of I'd say that's electrical noise, sort of sub 10 Hertz. Yeah, sub 12 Hertz. So we won't be able to hear that, but it does look like there is a little bit more noise, but let's have a listen. Here is where you begin your journey to creating your own unstoppable team. In today's fast-paced and competitive business world, it's not enough to have a good team. To succeed, you need an elite team, one that is highly skilled, motivated, and aligned around a common purpose. But what does it take to build and lead such a team? Cool, so there's definitely more noise on the Movo. To be expected, it's £13. The XS Lav is £50. The Movo also records hotter. It's a louder signal. We can just see that visually. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this loudness control, just set to like a bog standard, just to get them both to the same loudness. There we go. And now I'm going to listen to the Movo again, and then I'll listen to the Sennheiser again. Here is where you begin your journey to creating your own unstoppable team. In today's fast-paced and competitive business world, it's not enough to have a good team. Okay, so it's the Movo and the Sennheiser at the same loudness. Here is where you begin your journey to creating your own unstoppable team. In today's fast-paced and competitive business world, it's not enough to have a good team. Interesting. So I think the Sennheiser sounds clearer, but I'm also picking up loads more of the room in the Sennheiser over the Movo. Now, given the circumstance that I want to use this for guest contributors on podcasts, I know that they might be in their living room, their conservatory, their kitchen, their study. The environments they're going to be in are probably more reflective than this studio. So if the Sennheiser sounds more roomy and I can tell the space in the Sennheiser, that might not be a good thing for my use case. What I'm going to do next is there's definitely hiss on the Movo, so I want to just try and treat that as well. And I'm not going to go crazy. I'm just going to use my favorite setting, which is increase intelligibility. And I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to run them both through the dialogue isolate. Now I could go in and I could do like spectral analysis and I could really hone in on the noise of the Movo and attack that. But I want this to be as quick as possible for me, or if you're going to use this, I want to recommend a mic that's going to save you time and improve the quality of your audio, not take you hours to tweak. So this is the Sennheiser. Here is where you begin your journey to creating your own unstoppable team. In today's fast-paced and competitive business world, it's not enough to have a good team. To succeed, you need an elite team, one that is highly skilled, motivated, and aligned around a common purpose. That's pretty good. That's a 50 quid USB mic. That's a pretty good result. That's going to be better than a laptop. It's going to be better than low rate Zoom. It's going to be better than earbuds. Yeah, probably better than earbuds. It's going to be definitely better than headsets. I find that headsets get so many plosives. They're so close. It's not a nice sound as a listener to hear someone on a headset on a podcast. So I'm pretty pleased with the Sennheiser. Now the Movo with the denoising as well. Here is where you begin your journey to creating your own unstoppable team. In today's fast-paced and competitive business world, it's not enough to have a good team. To succeed, you need an elite team. Okay, now with the noise reduction implemented on that Movo track, that's pretty good. And I'm feeling like this, I'm likening this to condenser microphones and dynamic microphones. This Presonus PD70 here is a dynamic microphone. I've got some really good condensers at the back, Neumann, Sontronics condenser microphones. They're too sensitive for podcasting. They just pick up everything. You can hear dogs thinking 2 postcodes over it. They're so sensitive, and not everyone has an acoustically treated environment to record their podcast. Now, I'm all about lowering the barrier to entry. I don't want people to worry that their room doesn't sound good so they don't record a podcast. So I'd recommend people get dynamic mics, SM58s, the classic SM7B, the Joe Rogan mic. Dynamic mics, they're a little less sensitive and they don't pick up so much of the space in the environment. And that's exactly what the Movo has done here. It's a warmer sound than the Sennheiser, and with the noise reduction on it, it sounds, in my opinion, probably closer to what I want in a podcast interview. Now let's look at the 2 microphones on Amazon. So the Sennheiser retails for £50. You can get it as part of a kit as well. I think it's a great sounding microphone, but the Movo cost me $12.95, right? That's incredible. I can buy 4 of these for pretty much the same price as the Sennheiser. Now for me, the use case is to send this to a contributor anywhere in the world. It's going to be pretty cheap to send, right? I can send it just in a padded envelope, and I can send a self-addressed envelope with postage paid to get it back to me. However, if the contributor did forget to send it back to me, it's not the end of the world. £13, that's okay. But losing a £50 microphone, I might feel differently. So let's go back to this audio editor. I'm gonna have another little listen and see. Here is where you begin your journey to creating your own unstoppable team. Here is where you begin your journey to creating your own unstoppable team. I'm not saying that the Sennheiser doesn't sound better, but I'm saying for my use case and compared to a laptop or an earbud, this £13 microphone is awesome. It's going to definitely improve the overall standard of so many podcasts. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Now, I downloaded the synced video from Riverside for both microphones as well. And I wanted to do this because I have a sneaking suspicion that something happens. Yes. So on a side note, we're here to talk about lavs mics, but if you want to know something about Riverside, when Riverside process their audio to the video and they sync it together, there is some filtering going on. As you can see between these 2, all of the top end above 15 kilohertz is cut off. And it's the same with the Movo as well. As you can see, they're even more harsh cut off. That's 16.5. There's not a lot of information above 16 kilohertz. It really won't make a difference to your podcast, but do be aware that if you want the best audio recording out of Riverside, use just the raw WAV. But if you are doing a video podcast, then look at using either the non-synced version with the raw audio, or if you use a sync version, just be aware that there's some slight amendments that might happen to your audio file. The winner for me is the Movo. For £13, it's going to do exactly what I want. It's going to be far better than what the contributors are going to be able to use. I feel like you could plug this into your phone as well because it's got the TRRS connection. So you don't use the USB little audio device. you can just plug straight into a phone. So again, if I'm using Riverside for a remote recording and they're on a phone, I can still get that smart lav plugged in, and it can be just a better sounding product at the end in the mix. This is a great lav. But for me, it's just not worth 4 times as much, because I think I'm gonna have to treat that room compared to the dynamic mic that the host might be using. This is gonna be closer to a dynamic mic. So thank you for watching. I hope that's been helpful. If it has been helpful, it'd be great if you could share it with some other podcasters, content creators, or anyone that might be interested in improving their audio game. Thanks for sticking around. Give us a thumbs up if it was edutaining for you, and give us a subscribe if you want to hear more audio tips and tricks, content creation, and personal branding advice. Until the next video, thank you for watching.